Alright, so just like last video, we're gonna start off our video with another Net 5 incoming on my own beginner account. Now let's see what we're gonna get. Wait, please don't be the fire one. Please don't. Is it wind? It looks wind. Oh no, it's a dupe. So we're just a few days into our beginner account and I gotta say progression has been a blast. Now let me just start off by catching you guys up to speed with what I've been up to. Starting off with the 2As. Now in the last video I did briefly mention my Raok and also building a crow. Now what I've been adding to my collection right now is gonna be a Seren, the Dark Harpu, as well as a Colleen. So we got two new units that I do sometimes use. Another massive MVP is going to be my girl Naomi. She's a unit that a lot of early game accounts have been building like even years ago already. Not really for the reason I built her, which I want to talk to you guys about in just a bit. Also ready to second awaken my Shaman as well as my Seer, as you guys can see. So this account is progressing quite well, and I think while we're at it, let's just second awaken my Seer right now. I'm really curious to see how well she's doing. I think she's going to be like a side grade to a Lauren, for instance, so that's going to be definitely quite interesting to see how she's going to perform, but we're going to leave the testing to some future videos. Now when it comes to what I've been farming, I think I just need to look and show you guys my rune box, and it's very obvious. I think the Fever event is like one of the best times for us to start farming the spiritual realm, which technically only gives you like 1.5 rune sets that are very important for progression, namely being the fight set. Now the thing is that in later stages of Kairos, namely being the Abyss stage, the boss's HP starts just becoming absurdly high, where you do want to focus a lot more on rage sets and things like that, and fight isn't the best rune set. You mostly just kind of pack it on your supports that move before your damage dealers, and you just kind of like leave it at that. However, a huge benefit of running fight sets is going to be the fact that you are going to be able to get that triple S, or at least like S score in all of the elemental rifts. So for instance, on my account, it took me 2 days to get triple S on the Wind Rift as well as the Dark Rift, and that's just crazy. Like, especially the Wind Rift used to be the dungeon that most people had the most issues with, and just clearing it within like 2 days on my own account has been quite absurd. So pretty much my team comes to revolve around just stacking as many fight sets as possible. So therefore, for instance, my Eiger is on a triple fight set. My Fran is pretty much the only unit that I am using on Violent, which I'm not quite sure if that's going to be the main set that I'll keep on her, but for now, we're just going to stick with that. We also got my girl Seren on triple fight. I think my Verd, he's only on double fight. It's very hard to rune a Verd unless you got a very juicy slot 4 crit rate, which I wasn't blessed with one of those so far. My Raok is also just on double fight. It's very hard to get the stats for him. And with my Seek, I would love to have him on a triple fight set as well. But for now, I've been mostly just getting like blue fight runes. It's very hard to make him move first, so I just decided to put him on a Swift set and actually get the stats for me to actually have him hit hard enough to justify a spot. Alright, I'm just going to explain to you guys the team comps one by one. And we're going to start off with the Wind Rift, which again, I think the majority of you guys are going to have issues with. Now, the main issue in this dungeon is the boss puts on a debuff that reduces healing done by your entire like healers basically, and most of the healers that you're going to be putting in your team comps, they heal percentage based on max HP, and halving that is basically going to make it that you're never ever going to top off your entire team comp. However, we are running Fran and Eiger. Now Fran has attack based healing, which is like a massive game changer, especially if you are stacking, and I'm kind of curious how many fight sets we are actually running 88% extra attack with just my fight sets, and I'm not even maxing out on those. So Fran is going to heal like a ton, especially in consideration that he already gets an extra attack buff with that Eiger. So we're basically just going to always top off our team comp. As you guys can see, yep, this is basically just made it that Fran is the only one without the debuff. And here we go, and as you guys can see, like once the debuff is down from your entire team comp, the Thorns aren't going to do too much damage, and we're basically just getting an easy triple S score, and that's just crazy after like 2 days of gameplay. Now the next rift I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the Fire Rift, which is honestly quite easy to clear. All you really need is bringing like at least 1 to 2 damage dealers. Now as you guys can see right now, I'm running my Lapis as well as an Astar, which really isn't that easy to obtain, but I think like especially right now in the beginner event, I've been summoning like 500 mystical scrolls. I still ended up having to pick her in the unique like Net 4 summon event, where you get to summon like 1 unique Net 4, and I actually ended up picking Astar pretty much just for the elemental rift, as well as she is going to be like a massive contributor to most speed teams, which I know I'm like super far away from that. Now, pretty much how this team works is I do have double Magic Knights, and as you guys can see, I'm also running triple team-ups. Magic Knights, they do have an AoE on their first skill, which is triggering whenever I'm using team-ups. So that's just like a massive GG. I think this team isn't going to be like fully 100% consistent. Pretty much all you really need to like improve this team is just increase your account level, just get a little bit more defense, get a little bit more attack, and you should be good to go. But as you guys can see, this team comp, we got another triple S. Are we getting another triple S? We are getting another triple S and even best damage over here. And let's get to the Water Rift, which is pretty much the main reason why I've built the Wind Martial Cat super early right now. I mean, like I said, most beginner accounts are going to already have her on their account simply because she is going to be just such a huge beast for giants. But as you guys can see, this was actually the dungeon that I was having the most issues with, just with the playstyle that I was going for, simply because I was actually stacking like a lot of light units and also fire units, which obviously, that's like kind of not what you want to run into the Ice Rift. How this Rift works is you need to get a lot of turns, so speed buff helps quite a bit, which is the reason why I'm running Marth right now. I think another very good alternative would just be a Burnout, which I'm considering building, but since there is a Colleen Second Awakening, and also I did already get an Escher as well, it might not be the way to go. So Marth is going to be like kind of a bot that I'll be using for TUA hard in particular, so I didn't feel like it was a waste building him. He scales extremely well with like just high defense. He also has some self-sustain, and it's just a very nice frontliner. And actually my Martial Cat is not on like the most damage-ish build. She is on HP slot 6, which helps me put her in frontline and actually like really persistently survive and clear this rift. But the reason why I'm farming the elemental rifts is because of two reasons. Number one being the reappraise stones. If you've been playing this game just for a little bit, you'd know how good these stones are. And usually with beginner accounts, it takes you like a month or so until you unlock them. And with this game plan, I mean, this is the first week of me playing and I already have enough material to just level those up. Funny thing is, I actually don't have a rune that I want to re-up just now, but this is definitely going to be something for future videos. And second of all, we have access to the best damage dealer for the giant, which as you guys can see is the Wind Homunculus. Now he does take quite some materials to level up, and as you guys can see, we do also need to farm the light and dark rift, but as far as I'm concerned, those tend to be the easiest ones anyway, so I do have triple S scores for those as well. But I think within the next week I should have enough to just get him going as well, and we're going to build our first giants team from there. As you guys can see, things are moving extremely fast, like honestly even faster than I initially thought it would be possible. To give you guys a rough idea of what I'll be farming in the next couple of days is I think I'm gonna stay in the spiritual realm for just a little bit longer and maybe even build an abyss team with you guys. Second of all, I'm also going to be completing all of my 2As, which means we're also going to have my shaman ready to go, which is going to allow me to build a pretty fast necro team comp from there, which is going to unlock quite a lot of rage runes, which I think is going to be the key for most abyssal dungeons. I'm also starting to build a prelea for giants as well as the homunculus, and I'm going to be experimenting a little bit with certain like HP based damage dealers like a Lin, but also my Martial Cat. From there, I think the last few power spikes that I want to get into besides abyssal dungeons would be like another day of farming artifacts, just to make sure that we're not just running around with blue or green artifacts. I think that's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 more days. Actually try and get some decent substats in as we're going. Then also like another massive upgrade would be getting some grinds for my runes, which you can either craft grinds by just farming rifts, which are just way easier to do, or I might just build like an actual R5 team and see how many people aren't doing the BJ5 strats. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today's video. See you guys in the next one. Bye!
Tell me lies to justify what all I'm hearing is the